how he taught his followers, especially the 6 Goswamis, how to do this. He encouraged them to have an inner consciousness of Kṛṣṇa while still doing the tasks that they had to do in their life. So particularly two come to mind. One was with Raghunath Das Goswami. He wanted to run to Lord Chaitanya and be done with it all, right? He was living with his parents. He was very young. And Lord Chaitanya said to him, no, your duty is to stay and take care of your parents and to do your mundane tasks. And he said, I'll just read this from Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Raghunath Das, during his family life, so he was actually married as well, he went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Shantipur. The Lord gave him worthy instructions by his causeless mercy. Actually, I can't remember if he was married or not, or if they were trying to get him married, maybe. Instead of becoming a so-called renunciate, Raghunath Das, following the instructions of the Lord, returned home and played exactly like a pounds and shillings man. So British, right? Pounds and shillings man. So he played the role of that. He was inwardly completely renounced, even in family life, but he did not express his renunciation externally. Instead, he acted just like an ordinary businessman. Seeing this, his father and mother were satisfied. Yeah, so his father and mother really wanted him to inherit and to become married and have family life, and they did not want him to run away. So every time he would try to run away to Lord Chaitanya, they would come and get him and bring him back. And so he was basically trapped there. But Lord Chaitanya reminded him you're not blocked from actually being Krishna conscious on the inside, regardless of where you are in the world. Right? So we've talked about this before, and sometimes in life it throws us into a situation where we're not comfortable physically or emotionally. Anyone know what I'm talking about?
Put in a situation you're not comfortable?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can think of an example in your life, like, oh, maybe I had a roommate that was just really irritating, or maybe in extreme situations, people might be in a jail cell, right? It's like not their home, they're really uncomfortable, or they might be in a hospital, they're sick and they're dealing with disease, or they're in the stuck in a airport and they can't get back because the country won't let them in, right? There's things happening right now like that. So if we're in an uncomfortable situation, we really want to get out, we're starting to feel trapped and unhappy, what we can do is find the solace within. We have this whole inner world that we can tap into. And I was really inspired as a young person. I read a book of, the Soviet Gulag, when they were torturing these Christians in remote places in the Soviet Union, the communists. And there was one story of a Christian man who was so deep in his faith that the book was pretty graphic. I wouldn't recommend it. It was very heavy, like the way they were torturing him. This happened with Hare Krishna devotees as well over in Russia, and they were being tortured. So what inspired me so much is that man, in the torture, he wrote about it later. He wrote a book, and he said in that he would practice praying to God, like deeply and fervently throughout all of it. And his inner world grew so strong, so deep, because externally he had no shelter, no comfort. Even the people around him, which we usually take shelter of, were trying to hurt him, right? So the only recourse he had was to go inside and pray to God for shelter and strength. And so imagine what that does to your faith, right? When you have nothing else and you go inside. So that's what Lord Chaitanya was telling Raghunath Das Goswami. Yes, I know you don't want to be in mundane family life, but right now, stay there, take care of your parents, don't disturb their minds, and inside develop this consciousness of renunciation. And when the time is right, you can come and join me. Okay? So that it also goes to show that it's not the external dress that makes someone a renunciate. Like we can put on any cloth or whatever, right? Someone might put on orange, or they have some external representation of a renounced mind, but actually the renunciation is on the inside. So that we might see someone who's married and working a job, UF, right? They're working a job at UF. I know I think of some devotees right now who are so inspiring this way. They're in the world. They're working in the world, right? Even devotees who give class here at Kṛṣṇa. So there's several that I can think of. and they're internally renounced from it, right? But that doesn't mean they're not doing their job well. They might even get promotions. They might feel, their company or their office really loves having them there, and they're doing a great job. They're working, they're diligent. And inside, every day that goes on, they're doing it just for Kṛṣṇa. They're doing it with detachment, because why? Their love for Kṛṣṇa is growing on the inside. So then another example is when Lord Chaitanya told Rupa and Sanatan, they were also in a trapped, unhappy situation. They were working for, do you remember who they were working for? Yeah, those were their names before.
Working for the same job.
Yeah, so they were, their names, they took on Muslim names, and they were working for this Muslim government, right? And they were hiding their Vaishnavism, because that was not okay in that environment, right? So they're hiding their Krishna consciousness, and they were putting on this dutiful role of serving this Muslim government. And they wrote to Lord Chaitanya that their hearts were breaking. They wanted to be with him. They wanted to come and see him. And he wrote a letter back saying that, I'll read this to you. He said to them, if a woman is attached to a man other than her husband, she will appear very busy in carrying out her household affairs. But within her heart, she is always relishing feelings of association with her paramour. So the lover, right? Like, oh, the forbidden love. She's always thinking about what that, I can't wait to get out and sneak out and see, right? This is applicable to any gender. This happens in the world, right? Where someone gets their mind attached to somebody they can't really have, and then they're extra diligent in their duties so that they can meet with that person, right? Or that their mind is thinking of that person. And that enhances the intensity so much more. It's the perverted reflection of the spiritual world, where there's always this longing for Kṛṣṇa, right? And this lawless love, like, oh, the gopis who married, but they all want to be with Kṛṣṇa, right? In the transcendental way, that's the epitome of love, is that parakya ras, which is like lawless, right? It's unbounded. And so the perverted reflection in this world is that, like, okay, we're doing things that are secretive, and we're disrupting our family life by having an external lover and all that, right? It creates disruption in this world. But the idea is the same. The example that Lord Chaitanya gave them it's pretty profound, right? He wrote this in a letter to them. Basically, the message to Rupa and Sanatan was, be even more diligent now, like with your duties, with the Muslim governor and your situation, so that you don't cause any suspicion. You're doing everything well, but inside you become even more in love with Kṛṣṇa, more and more in love with Kṛṣṇa, right? You're meditating, and then finally you will come to see me. And they did. They came to see Lord Chaitanya, and they got personally instructed by him. So another personality that came to mind was Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He is another great personality who lived a very engaged life in this world. He was a court magistrate, like a judge. And he would do cases. People would come to him, oh, so-and-so stole this, and someone, hurt this person. And he would have to oversee these cases in the court in India. And for many years, he was in this position. And he did it well. He didn't, these devotees who are in the world, they're doing their duty dutifully, right? They're doing a good job of it too. Not only was he just skimping by, but he was actually glorified for being a great court magistrate. He was doing a great job. And internally, and in the inner world is, yes, I'm doing all of this for Kṛṣṇa. I'm using my abilities for Kṛṣṇa. I'm using my life for Kṛṣṇa, and I'm using the product of my job for Kṛṣṇa, right? The money that comes from it. I'm using it all in a devotional way so that nothing becomes separate anymore. I go to work, I go to school, I go to Publix, I go to the gas station. Suddenly, every single thing that I'm doing in the inside, it's all connected. Why? Because even drinking my tea, herbal tea, because I'm feeling sick, my throat's hurting, even that becomes connected. Why is that? How's that connected? How is drinking herbal tea when you have a sore throat? How's that connected to Kṛṣṇa?
With the intention to offer.
Okay, with the intention to offer the tea. Okay, yeah.
Taking care of your health, or your voice, to sing.
Yeah, taking care of your health and your voice to sing, and to practice Kṛṣṇa consciousness, right? So the only vehicle we have is this body. We have this gift right now of being able to practice Kṛṣṇa consciousness with it. So if I'm treating this body with kindness and regulation and care and steadiness, that allows me to be sustainable in my spiritual life. But if I jump over that, there's that expression, spiritual bypassing. Oh, I'm not the body and mind, whatever, just drop them to the side, I don't care. What usually ends up happening is, because we're prematurely rushing the process, is that we burn out physically, we get sick, we burn out emotionally, mentally, we have some breakdown, right? And get discouraged and we go away. So finding ways to do these instructions of Lord Chaitanya in our life. How do I do dutifully? How do I engage with my family, my grandma, my aunt and uncle who don't relate to Kṛṣṇa? How do I dutifully engage with those people as their, maybe my parents, right? Their son, their nephew, in a way that's not going to disrupt those relationships, while inside knowing who I really am as a spirit soul, and not getting lost in that story of this world, right? So it's a lot. It's a big exercise. It sounds simple, but it's actually something we can practice every day, all the time, and it's very portable. So, like I said, if you're at Publix or the gas station, you can do it while you're pumping your car. You're standing there. There's a few moments where you can think, okay, how does this connect to Kṛṣṇa? How is this connecting? How do I remember Kṛṣṇa in this? So that leads me to the next thing that I want to talk about, which is sometimes there's discouragement in spiritual life, especially when we read a verse like this, where it says that complete purification of consciousness. You see that phrase?
Mm-hmm.
Complete purification. Uh-oh. Right? 100% pure. We see those a lot, like pure devotee, pure, 100% unalloyed, pure devotion. And that's our goal. So what happens in the meantime is that, and this may not happen for all of you, but those who have any tendency towards perfectionism can sometimes become discouraged, because you see the goal and you see where you're at, and especially if you're thoughtful and reflective and you know how far you are, then there can be a moment of discouragement. Like, I'll never make it there. I'll never make it there. And I remember my father, I shared this before, but it struck me. My father said that early on when he was practicing Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he got discouraged, and he expressed it to, it was actually Hridayananda Maharaj, he expressed it to him and said that, shared his discouragement of how, look how far I have to go still, how to reach that perfect state of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And Maharaj said to him, instead of worrying about how far you have to go, turn around, look back how far you've come. And the impact of that on my father was very encouraging, because he has remembered that, it's just a simple moment and one or two sentences, but it really helped him going forward. And he shared that story with us because it had an impact on him. So yeah, just looking back and seeing how far I've come. So what are some of the spiritual hacks that we can do when we're feeling discouraged or feeling like we're caught up in realizing how far we have to go and we're feeling low or down? Yes.
I was thinking about realizing or just recognizing that this progress, any progress that is made, isn't really so much of our endeavor. Sometimes I feel really hopeless, and I start to think, well, like I don't really have any way of making any progress. I'm weak, and my mind is just destroyed, and I'm agitated in so many different ways. So I just feel like this is helpless. This is hopeless. What can I do? And then from that thought process, I start to see that actually, well, the whole way along, I haven't been really doing so much of that. I mean, I've been doing things, but if I'm honest with myself, I see that actually it's mercy. It's being handed to me. I'm being helped. I'm being given some sort of intelligence just to go throughout my day without being lost.
Oh, I love that point. Yes. So you're remembering that you're not the doer. You're actually being carried by mercy, right? You're being helped along, and remembering that can feel so encouraging. Oh yeah, I don't have to. Okay, struggle and strain and bear down, and now I have to be pure, right, all on my own. It's not like that at all. It's let me gently surrender to the process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness and open up to receiving that mercy and support that's there for me in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Yes.
Can I get some clarification on the question?
Yes. So the question is, I'm just calling it spiritual hacks, but any kind of thing that supports you in when you feel discouraged, or even when you feel lethargic. Oh, I don't really know if I want to do it today. I feel kind of just not so interested, right? What helps you in those moments? What's in your toolkit, right? We all have like our emergency kits. What's in yours? What helps you?
Something I do is I reflect on how when I first came in, I didn't know how much faith I had, but now that I've been here longer, I see how much progress I've made, and the longer I'm here, the more faith I get. So if I ever start feeling down, I just think about that.
Nice, yeah. So looking at your history, right? Seeing how far you've come and then feeling encouraged from that. That's great. Yeah, I saw Nartana's hand, then I'll come back.
Yeah, nice question to reflect on. Yeah, my mentor, Nanda, she always emphasizes like, the attempt is kind of good enough, like, okay, it is good enough. Like bringing back the mind, this and that. She talks about that so much with chanting, just that, attempt to bring back the mind, that is perfection in itself. So reminding myself that the attempt is good enough.
Yes, yeah. Just being here is great. Just being in Kṛṣṇa house is an amazing achievement in itself, right? And then planting yourself in the morning program is a big one. And then having a thoughtful question, like just adding little bits on, right? Making little efforts. I love that. That's really helpful. Doing your best. It reminds me of japa retreats where Burijan Prabhu would say, just hear this one holy name, right? Just hear this one holy name. Because if I'm thinking, oh man, I wasted the last 2 rounds just thinking about my job application, and now I'm still chanting, but I'm thinking about like how I missed the last 2 rounds. Now I'm like missing the current one, right? So don't worry about the past. Just be here now, doing my best on this current round and the current mantra, right? So that kind of mood. Yeah. Okay. What else?
Being company of good association.
That's a big one, right? When Brahmatirtha Prabhu asked Prabhupada, what's the key of Kṛṣṇa consciousness? Because he had gotten so many different advices from different devotees. That's what Prabhupada told him, is be in good association. That's the key for everything else. So if I'm feeling discouraged, remember we did that course on navigating our shadows, and sometimes in discouragement, we want to pull away because we're feeling bad about ourselves. We're starting to feel shame. I'm not good enough to be around devotees. They're going to judge me, or whatever the fear is. So I start to pull away when really that's the time I need the most support, right? So if I pull away, no, in that moment, let me plant myself with those devotees who can inspire me. It might even be just one person who I feel safe with to share. But yeah, trying to show up among good company. That's key. Any other ones? Yes.
So looking at my 2.5 years at Kṛṣṇa, I can just see week to week, like some weeks I'm really feeling it and other weeks I'm really not. So now when I'm maybe not feeling it as much, I don't spiral as far.
Yeah. Do you know what's helping you not spiral as hard?
Yeah, I know that just keep doing my best, and taste will come and taste comes, and to not be attached to that taste.
Yeah. Right. So that we can't hold on to the taste all the time. That's not the thing that we're trying. We're trying to be in this mood of service. So it's not about the taste, but riding out the times where we don't have the taste and knowing it'll come back. Right. Yeah.
But it is tricky because it's always available for us, and so when it's not there, you start to think like food life and like who, yeah, where where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
And you can spiral a little on that.
Yes, because we've heard that we lose our taste when we've offended devotees. So now I've lost my taste, and now I'm like consumed and like, uh-oh, who have I offended? And now I'm spiraling down even more. Sometimes Krishna is unpredictable, and it's not that we're always going to be guaranteed taste. So even if sometimes we haven't offended a devotee, it's just the taste comes and goes, and it's not. That's kind of almost irrelevant. Like don't let that disturb you. It's more just, let me show up for Krishna every day. Let me show up for Krishna. And if he grants me the taste, that's blessing. But if he doesn't, okay, I'm still showing up for Krishna. Just the way that like a dutiful parent will go to work every day, right, to maintain their children every single day. Okay, one morning they feel enthused and they're happy to go to work, and they feel the taste for it, and they're enjoying their job. Next morning they wake up, they really don't want to go, but they go anyway because they love their family and they want to support them. So we show up for Krishna even when we're not feeling it. But I totally feel you. Yeah, I'm getting that spiral potential. And in that moment, we have to be with those who can help us get out of it, right? Get out of the spiral. Yes.
Share that I normally get out of frustration or lack of energy when I connect myself with service. If I'm physically tired, I am just like maybe a class, even though like your mind will engage into other type of information more relevant, and if I just feel like overwhelmed, I will sing so I can at least release the stress but still be connected with the name. And if my mind is a little bit like, I will try to engage myself in service, like going into a program or meeting a devotee that I can serve.
Nice. You have several different ways that you can handle it, or you can process it. So listening to a class, getting inspiration, or singing when I can't do anything else, just singing the holy name, and that can change. Or doing practical service. Let me just put all of this mind stuff to the side for a moment, and let me go serve the devotee's lunch, right? And that in itself can help us overcome all that discouragement. It's really good. Very practical. Just like they say, sometimes you need to just go for a walk, like when you're anxious or depressed, just get out and go for a walk, right? The physical body movement helps the mind. So doing some movement, do some service with movement. So that leads to another one that I thought of, which is when I help somebody else on their spiritual journey, that is a complete antidote to that self-consumed, whatever it is that's bogging me down, right? So if I can take myself out of myself for a moment and let me do something to help someone on their journey of Krishna consciousness. Let me share about Krishna with them. Let me share my story with them. Let me listen to them, right? Let me hear what's going on for them. Let me check in, call them, see what they're going through. Anything where I can do some service for somebody else, a soul on their journey, that'll really help. And it helps psychologically, it helps because even studies have shown that when we do something altruistic, it helps us feel better, right? There's that just baseline psychology. But on a spiritual level, what it's doing is it's connecting us to, imagine that we have a wire running across the room, right? And it's the wire of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, right? Lord Chaitanya on one side and the disciplic succession. Now, if I think I want to do something to help Lord Chaitanya's movement, I'm going to plug into that wire for a moment, right? That the electricity, when you plug in, all of a sudden you get that surcharge of energy and mercy that comes from being connected. Even if it's just a kind gesture to a visitor, a smile. Welcome to Krishna House, right? Welcome, we're happy to see you. That's enough. That's something you're plugging in. You're giving some kind words. And that will uplift us spiritually. So I'll give you an example. When Prabhupada passed away, Srila Prabhupada passed away, the devotees that first day, they were devastated to hear the news all across the world. And they were devotees just frozen, sitting in temples, like didn't know how to move, didn't know what to do. And my mother was in Europe at the time, and all the devotees were just frozen in shock and crying and grief, right? So intense to hear the news. And a newcomer walked into the building at that time, into the temple. and was wanting to get a Bhagavad Gita, but everyone was so in shock that no one was really engaging with the new person. And my mother had this realization that this would be pleasing to Prabhupada, to engage. This is a way to keep Prabhupada alive, is to give this person Bhagavad Gita, give Prabhupada to this person, right? This is his commentaries and so on. And so she got up and interacted with this person, got them Bhagavad Gita, and she had this major realization that this is how to actually help. This really is what helps the grief and the loss of our teachers, is to continue to serve their mission and to help others connect. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because I thought that was pretty profound, that in the most intense grief that we can even then we can step out of ourselves for a moment and give to others, and that will help us in our journey of loss and grief. So yeah, so we're reaching the end of our time. I'll just summarize some of the things we talked about. Is the internal mood, building our internal life, so that when we're out in the world dealing with mundane things, there's no longer a separation of mundane and spiritual. It all becomes integrated. Right? I'm working on the inside, and then it manifests everywhere I go. I'm a lady and gentleman, right? That's what Prabhupada said. We're ladies and gentlemen wherever we go. And then when we're feeling trapped by perfectionism and discouraged, oh my gosh, I'm never going to reach this high mark. What to do in the meantime is each one of you can spend some time creating your own list of your emergency kit list, right? Like this can really help for times when you're struggling with depression or feeling down or discouraged, is to have a list somewhere on your computer or in a notebook that you can go to when you're feeling low, that you've written when you're not feeling low, like when you're feeling good. Here's all the things I love about Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Here's all the things that I feel excited about. Write them while you're feeling them, and then have them somewhere as your like emergency kit reminders, right? And then go to it when you're feeling down. Oh yeah, I can reach out to this friend. Oh yeah, I can listen to this lecture that I love. I can sing this bhajan that inspires me, or I can call to that friend and sing together. You can have your list. So these are our list of things to help us when we're feeling down. One more I want to share is that, you know, the Lay's potato chips, what the motto is? What the motto is on the bag?
One chip at a time.
One chip at a time. That's a good one, but it's not their motto. Yeah.
Is it that you can't just eat one?
Yep. Yeah. So you can't eat just one. You can't have just one, something like that. You can't eat just one. And I think it's a trademarked, right? It's like their logo, their motto. So you can't have just one, right? You can't eat just one. So that same principle applies to Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So if I can just dip myself into one mantra very consciously, or one kirtan, or one Bhagavad Gita verse, or one what else? One prayer, one sincere prayer, one obeisance done with my heart and soul. Just one. I won't be able to do just one because it's going to open up my soul's desire to do more, right? So I can't just do one. I have to do more now. And that's the secret. It's to a lot of people who do books on goal setting and habit breaking and habit making. It's this idea of just doing one, like start with one push-up. Like that's all you have to do, one push-up. And then naturally like, well, I did one, so now I can do two, right? It's like, it's a hack for the brain, but it's also spiritually, it works because the soul goes, oh, wow, that one mantra of Hare Krishna was so meaningful. Let me just do one more, right? Let me have another. Just the way that motto is, can't just have one.
One book,
just one book out, yeah, one book. And so similarly, if I do that for someone else, let me just give them one smile, one friendly gesture, one kind word, one welcome invitation, one mat, whatever. You can think of it like that. Like, let me just do something, one thing for this guest that they too will feel that, oh, I want more. I want to come back. Okay? So that idea, it's very simple in a way. It just boils it down to the very basic. So yeah, thank you for all your sharing your realizations. And I'd love to hear, yes.
Thank you very much. I was just thinking, on that second point,
being discouraged, seeing how much more we have to traverse of the path. I was remembering how, actually we read this morning, was discussing on this prophet's calendar. We're not expected to really be perfect. We're just expected to move in that direction of perfection, and one chip at a time, or one mantra at a time. And I was thinking how there's this where I saw it, but that most people, they are in this search for perfection. Very few wise ones, they find the perfection in search.
Yeah, in the moment of the search, right? In the journey itself.
Yeah. And that's, you were talking about six Goswamis, that's their move too. They never claimed that I've attained Krishna.
Yeah.
They were looking, where's Krishna?
Yeah, they never reached a place where they said, okay, we've done it, we've made it, now we're done. Like it's complete and over, and close that book, right? It's not like that in Krishna consciousness. That's a really good point. So finding perfection in the imperfect journey of our souls going to Krishna, right? Finding in those moments, like right here in this Bhagavatam class, that's a perfect moment, right? Even though our brains and our bodies and whatever, it doesn't matter. We're here as spirit souls hearing, and it's perfect. Yes.
Yeah, I really like the class. I think it reminded me of surrendering. I think that when we really don't feel there's progress or anything, I think the best thing is to surrender, because we're not even like in control of our thoughts or our desires. So I think my little hack is that I like to just talk to Krishna and just like be transparent and talking like how I am, trusting that, like trying to be sincere, he will help me to like take care of it. I don't need to worry anymore.
Nice. Yes. So just surrendering to Krishna, just talking to Krishna as your shelter and friend. That's powerful. It's also finding ways to reduce the gaps. Let's say this is the last time I thought of Krishna. This is the next time I thought of Krishna, right? And this might be one day in the next, or 1 year in the next, whatever it is for us. But how do I reduce those gaps? Fill them in with, talk to Krishna, bring ourselves to Krishna, pray, right? And so start to fill it. Oh, now I thought of Krishna here. Now I thought of Krishna here, right? And those gaps between my Krishna consciousness become shorter and shorter. The Maya gaps get smaller. Yeah. Yes. Prashant's ready? This is our last one.
Okay. Hopefully it's quick. We were talking about how if we're in like these externally very uncomfortable situations, we go into our internal world. And I was thinking often, our internal manifests our external, but also sometimes the external can really affect like my internal. If I'm in certain association or in a dirty place, or the externals make it hard to go into that internal world. So I was wondering, when we're not so advanced, how do we deal with that?
Yeah, great point, because there was some incidences like that with Prabhupada where devotee would say, I don't feel enthusiastic. I don't feel like chanting or dancing or whatever the different one. And Prabhupada would say, just do it and then you'll feel it. So do the action, then the feeling will come. So it goes both ways. So if I'm not feeling it, then again, planting myself among those who are feeling it, and it becomes contagious, right? Like walking into Guru Puja, I could see it just like, Nartana's playing Mridanga great, and Narada's singing enthusiastically, and it's just contagious energy of enthusiasm that makes you want to dance and chant. Even if you walked in feeling kind of like, I don't really want to dance and chant, but suddenly you're doing it and you don't even know why, right? So yeah, that's my quick answer, but we'll stop here for breakfast. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi.
Prasade Govinde Nama Brahmani